the Mexican death toll, estimated at 1,500 soldiers and many more wounded, has been considered questionable. Even though Santa Anna's thirst for revenge was satiated, he was not eager to promote the true cost in Mexican lives that it took to secure the victory. In the end, the Battle of the Alamo was insignificant in terms of stopping Santa Anna, but it galvanized a country that had previously been uninterested in the liberation of Texas. The slaughter of the defenders of the Alamo had a psychological effect on the United States. Droves of volunteers heeded the call to arms, and 6 weeks later, at the Battle of San Jacinto, the cry, "Remember the Alamo," was echoed over and over again. Those words must have been ringing in the ears when His Excellency Santa Anna surrendered following his resounding defeat at San Jacinto, thus creating the Republic of Texas. Countless hours have been spent proving or disproving the legends, lies, and half-truths that have in themselves been woven into the Alamo's historical record. The only problem with trying to debunk the Alamo myths is the fact that theoretically all of the American witnesses were killed, one way or the other, at the conclusion of the battle. The first and probably most important question is, how did Davy Crockett really die, and is the fictionalized account of his death really accurate? Some historians believe that Crockett did not die in the heat of battle as immortalized by the John Wayne film in 1960. Instead, it is surmised that Crockett and several other survivors located in the ruins of the Alamo were given no quarter and executed on the spot. In an attempt to answer this question, investigators have turned to all available Mexican records that chronicled the victor's version of what happened after the battle. Translated documents written by Jose Enrique de la Peña, an aide to Santa Anna, indicate that Crockett, always the politician, attempted to talk his way out of his dire predicament. Claiming that he was a citizen of the United States, Crockett spun a yarn saying that he had sought refuge in the Alamo rather than have his foreigner status called into question by any Mexican forces that he may have encountered while coincidentally exploring the countryside in and around the old mission. Apparently, the triumphant Santa Anna was unimpressed with Crockett's silver tongue, and he ordered Crockett and 6 other survivors be put to death. The horrified De La Peña writes that upon Santa Anna's command, several Mexican officers fell upon these unfortunate, defenseless men, just as a tiger leaps upon his prey. Even though this version of Crockett's death raises the hackles of Alamo revisionists everywhere, the fact remains that the surrender of Crockett and his subsequent execution was reported by several highly respected newspapers of the time. It proves just how barbaric and untrustworthy Santa Anna really was. Either way, Crockett died a heroic death, as evidenced by De La Peña's final words about the execution. Quote, "Though tortured before they were killed, these unfortunates died without complaining and without humiliating themselves before their torturers." Another reoccurring conundrum is the location of certain documents and personal belongings taken from the dead Alamo defenders following the battle. To the victors go the spoils, and as soon as the battle was over, Mexican soldiers pillaged the Alamo. Nothing was considered sacred. Every defender's body was stripped bare, and any documents and personal baubles of value were recovered as spoils of war. Once the bodies of the dead had yielded their booty, they were burned unceremoniously on several huge funeral pyres. Any paperwork which hinted that it might contain information of intelligence value was most assuredly seized for Santa Anna's personal perusal. Historians continued to debate what documents, if any, were actually collected by Mexican officials, and if the information exists today. Unfortunately, if the disputed documents do survive, they are secluded somewhere within the bowels of the Mexican National Archives, where they will most likely never be made available for public examination. This one unanswered enigma has fueled the imagination of many would-be treasure hunters. It is rumored that the Alamo defenders placed their valuable and personal effects inside a large bell. Prior to the last days of the battle, the bell filled to overflowing with mementos and was buried at a secret location somewhere within the confines of the mission and has never been located. Stay tuned for part 4 of the Ghosts of the Alamo.